What is going on, internet world? My name is Tommy. You probably know me as Rivet, and I'm your coach of the Atlanta Braviaries, the highest flying, flyest looking team on YouTube. We are here with our first battle of the United Battlers League, the UBL, Season 3 against G4, aka Glenn, and his team, the Goodra Gang. It's going to be an awesome match. Welcome to the workshop. Alrighty guys, we are here breaking down our week 1 match against Glenn, aka G4, and his team, the Goodra Gang. Full disclosure before this gets underway, I had some technical difficulties recording this initial match, and so this is just gonna be a quick overview and then post-com of the match, just because I had some audio difficulties. So let's hop right into this. First and foremost, he's got Tornadus-Therian. It's kind of a beast, does everything. It's a really fast pivot based 121 speed, hurricanes, air slashes, heat waves. It can knock off and U-turn for utility. It can nasty plot up. It can be rocky helmet, pivot, with regenerator for recovery and all that. Except he's got Deoxys-Defense, very bulky, pure psychic type, massive defenses. It can set stealth rocks and spikes, teleport out. It can thunder wave, set screens, nightshade and seismic toss for consistent damage. It's a really big threat. Checks Medi pretty hard, and I definitely think it comes. He's got Mega Venusaur. Mega Venusaur is a little bit less passive, but is still a massive wall with huge defenses. Giga Drains and Sludge Waves and Earth Powers hit really, really hard. He can Synthesis and Leech Seed for recovery, and then Sleep Powder just for additional annoyance. MVNU is definitely a maybe. Stuff like Medi kind of wrecks it, but it does do some good work for his team. He's got Klefki. Klefki's a really annoying discount. Steel and Fairy type with the Prankster ability. It can set screens and spikes just like Deoxys and Thunderwave and stuff, but it can also Iron Defense and Calm Mind and Stored Power and Drain and Kiss, which is really cool. Didn't know that until recently. Shout out to Adam. He's got Silvally. Silvally can do a ton of different things, obviously, getting all 17 types thanks to the memories and the RKS ability. He's got a huge move pool with Flamethrower, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Parting Shot Out, which is really good for utility and momentum. He can defog, he can set up with Flame Charge and Swords Dance, and just really think anything he needs. He's got Cough. Cough is a really strong defensive ghost type, pure ghost type with the Mummy ability, which really hard shuts down. And Medi, getting rid of my pure power. It can Shadow Ball, Willow Hex, Nightshade for consistency. It can Iron Defense and Body Press. It can Nasty Plot Up, which is pretty cool. It can also set T-Spikes, which is pretty scary. He's got Umbreon. Umbreon's a pretty huge, bulky, pure Dark type with the Synchronize ability. Just a basic Cleric and Wish Passer, but massive defenses. Does that job really, really well, but it's pretty standard in what it does. He's got Hitmontop. Hitmontop can either be a pretty offensive fighting type with Technician with close combat, Rapid Spin, Bullet Punch, Mach Punch, Triple Axle, stuff like that, or it can be a defensive Intimidate user, doing some of the same things. I think Hitmontop is definitely a maybe because a Rocky Helmet, Intimidate, Hitmontop makes sense for trying to check Triple Axle from Weavile. He's got Quagsire. Quagsire is a cool water and ground type with 2 cool abilities in Unaware and Water Absorb, one of which stopping Swords Dance Weavile, and the other one stopping my Flip Turning from Swampert. It's definitely a maybe. I don't have a Grass type on my team, which lets it run around easier, and also I don't have a ton to beat Quagsire, but at the same time, I think he's got some other good slots he's other good mons to fill his slots. He's got a Rotom Fan. Rotom Fan's a really great mon, one of my favorites in the low tiers. It checks Skarmory really well. It can Thunderbolt and Volt Switch. Air Slash hits really hard. It can defog and Nasty Plot and Will-O-Wisp. Does a bunch of things really, really well. And then last but not least, he's got Ambipom. Ambipom's a really cool low tier with the Technician and Skill Link abilities. Technician fake outs hit really, really hard, especially based off Life Orb. And then he can also Skill Link with stuff like Tail Slap. Doesn't get a very good Skill Link move pool, but still something I gotta watch out for. So with all that out of the way, let's hop into what I am bringing this week. Leading us off, we got the Remedy. The Remedy rockin', Drain Punch, Zen Headbutt Substitute, and Toxic. Max Attack Jolly with a good amount of speed. Subtoxic is there for stuff like Cough and Deoxys, because obviously Drain Punch isn't going to do anything to Deoxys or Cough. So being able to sub up, gauge what he's going into, what his plan is, then throwing off a Toxic onto something like his defensive walls is a great idea. Zen Headbutt hits MVNU and Hitmontop really hard, and Drain Punch blocks Umbreon with my Pure Power ability. I'm loving the Remedy this match. I hope it can catch him by surprise. Wear down his big walls, and also just annihilate the stuff it pairs up well against. Next up, singing his song, we got Axel Rose the Weavile. The Choice Banded set this week with Triple Axle. Knockoff, Ice Shard, and Low Kick. Axle hits pretty much everything incredibly hard except for Clef Key, just because it resists my dual stab. Knockoff is there for additional dual stab, just for utility. Ice Shard is there for priority if he's got a Scarfer, like a Scarf Tornadus-Therian. And then Low Kick hits with Clef Key pretty hard, obviously, because I can't touch it otherwise. Next up, Wind Shear. The Skarmory Wind Shear is looking great. Running a speedy defensive utility set this week with the safety goggles so I don't get put to sleep from Mega Venusaur. With Sturdy, Brave Bird, Stealth Rock, Roost, and Taunt. Brave Bird hits Venu really hard. It also hits Hitmontop for good damage if he's not Intimidate. Stealth Rock is great this match because he doesn't have super great defog options. Torn can obviously run it, but I think he needs a lot of attacking moves this week. Roost is there for just longevity. And then Taunt, along with my speed investment, allows me to outspeed an uninvested Deoxys-Defense and taunt that so we can't Thunder Wave or teleport or set hazards of any sort. Next up, Cheshire the Gengar. Cheshire's looking sick this week with a sub-nasty plot set with Life Orb, Shadow Ball, and Focus Blast. This set kind of wrecks his team if I can get it set up properly. We got Max Attack Modest. This is hitting incredibly hard. The stuff that doesn't want to take Shadow Ball, like Umbreon, just gets completely decimated by Focus Blast if I hit it. Good old Focus Miss. Make me roll the dice as always. But if I can get this in and get it set up, it's looking fantastic. Next up, just a utility set this week with a much needed one. We got Dr. Milburn, the Moltres. Dr. Milburn's looking great with Air Slash, U-Turn, Roost, and Defog. Good amount of speed, max HP just for general bulk. And then the rest thrown into special attack. Air Slash again, hit stuff like Venu and Hitmontop, which I definitely need to limit this week. U-Turn just for pivoting purposes. Roost for longevity, and then Defog for defogging away any hazards set by Deoxys or Clef Key. And last but not least, we got Goose the Magnezone, rocking the Aqua Berry this week in the analytic ability with Thunderbolt, Flash Cannon, Volt Switch, and Teleport. This is my main switch into Tornadus-Therian, with the Aqua Berry allowing me to take a Heat Wave from that thing. Max HP, a decent amount of special defense with the Calm Nature. A lot of speed thrown into this thing to allow me to outspeed stuff like Mega Venusaur and Flash Cannon it before it can Earth Power me. Analytics is really cool if I'm catching something on the switch in, doing a ton of damage, and then Thunderbolt and Flash Cannon hit pretty much everything hard. Teleport is there for Quagsire. If it shows up, I can pivot out safely in front of that thing, which otherwise I can't hit it. And then obviously Teleport is great because if I want a slow pivoting option, because I am running a lot of speed for stuff like Venu, if I want to pivot out, if he's not rocking something like Earth Power, I can do that rather safely. So with all that out of the way, let's hop into this match. Alrighty guys, here's the match against Glenn and his Goodra Gang. You can see the 6 he decided to bring up on the screen. Hitmontop, Mega Venusaur, Umbreon, Quagsire, Tornadus-Therian, and Cough. And you've seen the 6 I am bringing it and why I'm bringing it. If you haven't seen that, go check out the Teambuilder. So with this team preview, I definitely thought that Goose was a solid matchup. I definitely thought he would lead something like Torn or Cough to set up Toxic Spikes. Quagsire, if that showed up, I could just teleport out or just hard switch out. So as you'll see, that's what I decided to do. So let us hop into this. So battle starts off. Wow, this is even so slow. So I decided to lead Goose. He is going to lead that Torn. He's just going to U-turn out here, which is what I expected. I decided to go for teleport because obviously Quagsire was sitting here. So I decided to teleport out safely into Axel Rose here, put on some big pressure with a triple Axel. I thought he might switch out into something. I wanted to scout that Rocky Helmet on Hitmontop, so I went for knockoff. Did a decent chunk to this thing, and he's going to Earthquake me for some big damage. I knew he was going to recover here, so I wanted to get out safely into Wind Shear and do something while he recovered. And so now we have a stalemate here a little bit. So he's going to go out into Banshee here. I'm going to taunt the Quagsire so he can't recover or anything. And he's going to force me out with the Heat Wave here. I'm going to go into Goose predicting in a Hurricane, but he is going to go for the Heat Wave. Burning my Aqua Berry a little bit earlier than I would have liked. However, this gives me a free opportunity to teleport again, which is what I'm going to do exactly as. I'm going to go onto the Remedy this time, pressure a little bit, and bluff that I can do a little bit more than I can. He falls for it, and I'm going to get a free sub up here against the Cough, allowing me to go safely for a Toxic on the next turn and start to wear this thing down. So there's a Toxic, as you can see, and he's going to go for the Hex, revealing that he is most likely a Willow Hex set. Very scary. So at this point, I don't want to take a Will-O-Wisp. I don't want to burn any more health with sub. And I'm going to go into Moltres. He's going to go for Hex again, but it does very little as I am very bulky. So he's getting worn down, so I'm in a great position. He's going to go into Umbreon, and I'm just going to safely U-turn here. I'm doing a decent chunk to Umbreon. This lets me get right back into Axel Rose, pressuring another huge Choice Band triple Axel. because Umbreon is definitely Spadef invested based off that damage. He's going to go back into Quagsire, and this guy's not liking a triple axle. That is huge damage coming off that, and a nice little crit to cap it off. And then one more of those is going to claim Axel Rose, the first kill of the season for the Braviaries. Attaboy. And so he's going to go out into Hitmontop here, obviously threatening me with a Mach Punch. So I'm going to play it safe and to go into Skarmory, or Moltres as I thought. But he makes a great prediction, goes for Stone Edge. And I am incredibly lucky dodging that Stone Edge. I go into Windshear to take a second one, and he just pivots back out into Umbreon. So with Umbreon in front of me, he's going to turn out back into Torn T. And I'm just going to taunt again, obviously, because I didn't want him to Wish Up or Heal Bell or anything. He's going to threaten again with Heat Wave. I go into Moltres again, and he's just going to U-turn safely this time because he knows I've seen the Heat Wave. He's going back into this thing. I'm just going to U-turn out again. No reason not to. A little bit more chip on this thing, and it lets me get it back out into a big hitter like Weavile. Axel Rose right back out here. Umbreon is just going to toss off a Wish, but I'm in a great position to throw off another huge triple axle. He's going to go back into Cough. Cough isn't going to like this too much. Big damage. Getting rid of my pressure isn't a huge deal. Unfortunately, he is going to live it though, and then that Wish is going to heal him pretty much right back up to the top. So very unfortunate. I definitely don't want to take a body press. So I'm going to switch back out into Moltres to take that body press. No flame body, unfortunately. I do get a little crit. Not that it matters. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to Roost up. He's going to mispredict and go for a Willow here. Maybe he thought I was going into something like Emeti or Skarmory or something. But free turn for me. Free Roost. Very exciting. He's going to go into Umbreon. And I'm safely just going to go for a U-turn again. A little bit more chip on this thing. And this lets me get right back into Axel Rose. Again, pressuring with a huge triple axle. And at this point, he can't Wish safely because he's going to take a ton. So he's just going to go into Cough here. And this is going to take a massive triple axle. Again, getting rid of my pressure and taking big hits. Weavile, unfortunately, not able to pick up the kill. But the Toxic from Emeti is going to. So the Remedy on the board. Definitely didn't think its first kill was going to be a passive one. But take what I can get. Hitmon comes back out. I'm going to go into Skarmory this time a little bit safer. And this time he's going to go for that Mach Punch. Mach Punch doing very little damage to my Skarmory as I am pretty defensive. He's going to go right out into Banshee here. I'm going to set up my rocks. Because at this point I had a feeling this thing was Scarfed Tornadus, and I wanted to see if I could get any intel on that, if he was boots or not. Goose comes in and eats the Air Slash for days. And at this point there's no Quagsire, so I can Volt Switch freely. And that's what I'm going to do right here. Volt Switch into the Umbreon slot incredibly safely. Get back into Weavile. And at this point, again, I have another incredibly free triple axle with this Weavile sitting in, with Umbreon sitting in front of me, and Umbreon's not liking that. So, Axel Rose, 2 for 2, triple axle behaving very nicely. This thing comes back out, going back into Skarmory, and this was not justified. Oh, no, next turn. I'm eating that Stone Edge relatively comfortably. I Roost up safely, and he's gonna go for Axel this time. But he only gets one. It does literally nothing. Very sad days for G4. He's going to pivot back out into Torn. I do see that he is not heavy-duty boots, reinforcing my supposition that he was Choice Scarfed. And I'm just going to let him kill me here with Heat Wave so I can see him lock into something, because at this point I knew he was Choice Scarfed. So this gives me a free switch into Milburn. He's just going to go for Heat Wave again. He definitely was Choice Scarf. And I'm going to claim this kill with Air Slash. Crit didn't matter, but all good. Hitmontop comes back in. I know this thing is going to Stone Edge me, and I know this thing's probably Assault Vest, but I'm just going to go for it anyway. Why not? I don't need this thing. And I got a flinch. 30% chance. Sorry, G4, but that'll happen. So Milburn's going to pick up the kill on Hitmontop with a little bit of Air Slash cheese. And then Venu comes out. Hasn't seen the field yet, but it's staring down a Moltres with Air Slash. So Moltres is going to get another big Air Slash. Sludge Bomb is not going to do nearly enough to me. And one more Air Slash. You're going to pick up the kill. That's a 5-0 victory. That's a riveting win. Great start to the UBL, even with a little bit of cheese. Sorry about that, G4. So, thank you guys for watching. I hope you all are okay with the post-com. You know, let me know. Just send a comment or something if you prefer the post-com. If it was a little bit quicker. I know the other battles are a little bit lengthy, but I'm doing it for you guys. I want to know what you guys think. So if you honestly preferred the post-com videos, a little bit shorter, a little bit more digestible, send me a DM, send me a comment, let me know what you think. But otherwise, With that out of the way, we got our second battle coming up very soon against my good buddy Heghog and the Montreal Impotent. That should be an awesome game. So I will catch you guys there. Have a good night. Peace out.